Hi, I'm Will Forge, and today we're going to talk about Forge because I'm working on, I made Waterworks originally, and I'm working on trying to set it up to make Hydrostatic, the upgraded version of it. That's the Waterworks that's in matchmaking, so this will be really cool to have. But let's see. I want to switch over to Waterworks itself. So this is what Waterworks looked like on the dark side, on the blue side. This is actually the new map file, and I've already done a whole bunch of changes to it that are going to be copied over to the blue side as well. Right now it's only on the red side though. For example, from now, that bridge area right now is mostly unedited, but the base has been clearly heavily edited. We're gonna go ahead and hop into it real quick. Okay, whoop, sorry. Hop up here. So instead of a gun turret here, we're gonna have a grav lift, and that's gonna launch you right over past. You're gonna be able to thruster yourself over there and like cancel the grav lift onto the tank if you need to, if that's what your goal is. But you're gonna be able to grav lift yourself all the way over here, so you can very quickly cross that gap rather than having to run the distance. And then you're kind of still out in the open. You kind of have to pick where you're going after that. But it's still, it's looking pretty good. I think a lot better that way. We also have a bit of a change here. Normally the teleporter comes out here from the base. There's usually a window right there. I've moved that entire section over here. That window will have you come out right here, or that teleporter usually has you come out right here, and then you grab the rocket launcher or the shotgun. In this case, I've moved it. I'm going to put it back here, and here's the reason why. I also made it two-way. You can now infiltrate the enemy base through the teleporter. So typically, the teleporter was only one way, and whenever you would go through it, it would send you over to that bridge, and it's sort of like a way of leaving the base. But it didn't really help too much with like getting into the base. So the distance was still pretty heavy to cross. In this case, though, you'll come out and you'll actually be faced with an option. This is why this change was originally conceived. And I actually did this on stream at one point. I was talking to my viewers, and we went over it and stuff like that, and why I was thinking about it. It occurred to me in the middle of the stream that I could do this. If it's moved back here, then the rocket launcher spawns there, and your base is back there, so if you have to turn around and go back to your base, or you're trying to flank an enemy, then, you can choose to do that. But you can also choose to attack the enemy base. And it sort of gives you this nice, Y-shaped, which way are you going to go? First, you can always grab the overshield, even if you're immediately going to go that way. But if you don't even have time to grab the rocket launcher or something like that, or maybe it hasn't respawned yet like now, then you can just, maybe there might have been a couple more seconds you could spin there, but maybe you got to go, you got to leave, so you head this way. So you have that ability to sort of, take those two routes, and really, you get this like, crossroads kind of feel to it. But also, the enemy can still try and snipe you right out of right out of a teleporter. But this time, instead of sniping you straight out of teleporter and you're, over here in that area and you're kind of like have nowhere to go, no weapons, nothing to do, in this case, you can come out of teleporter, and if you're already moving, you can quickly cross that gap. So if they're not ready with the sniper, then you're out of the, you're past them. Now, the downside to the old method was that the window was there, and they could see you crossing across the, the hangar bay where the Banshee spawns to get to that teleporter, and then go, ooh, they're about to go through the teleporter, and they could turn over here and look right down here and get you to come out, and your head was just perfectly visible for a sniper to just get you. And of course, if an enemy flying vehicle was getting that angle, they also could see you do that. So this is one of the changes I'm proposing and thinking about doing, is this teleporter change here. Now, if it's not just that though, here, let's grab this chopper. This chopper probably won't be there in the final one. This was a original, I was trying to make like in the Waterworks that's already on matchmaking. If you go in on big team battle, this chopper will spawn in there just to add an extra vehicle. But yeah. So this change over here, it used to be that there's a ramp here up into the back of the base, and then a ramp over there that just went to a really nearly useless sort of catwalk. I'm running around, but honestly, aside from showing the man cannons, I could probably be flying around in Forge mode to show this a little better. But anyway, I'll do that in a second. I'm just going to ride this man cannon as one last thing before I go back into Forge mode, which allows me to fly. So if you go through this man cannon, it's going to launch you onto the bridge, and you can actually, if you do it right, I can actually show you something pretty cool with this one that I was pretty excited to work out. Let me get back up on here. And if you're coming over here and you hit this man cannon, you can now be sprinting into it, launch, and then sprint as soon as you hit the ground to power slide and get all the way across here. So you can use some advanced movement techniques to really take advantage of this. You might be able to do more beyond this point. That's just, you know, my skill level gets me to here. And that would immediately let you, like, get more than halfway across the map. The middle of this is halfway across the map. So that's a nice little maneuver if you're like, the enemy is capturing your flag. But it puts you right out in the open, you know what I mean? Like, you could get hit from anybody trying to attack you from any side. So it's a good trade-off, I think. We're going to go back into flying mode. Over here, this used to be where this man cannon is that I told you about that sends you over to that area. This man cannon used to be a gun turret, which, as you can see, I have directly moved right up here. Now, that gun turret location was, you know, it's classic. It's, let's see, this is not going to launch me because I'm not in actual play mode. You could turn fully to the left to about here, and you couldn't really shoot down that angle, and you could turn to the right that way, and it just felt kind of limiting, you know what I mean? Up there, being a little higher, makes it a little bit more potent, which means this gun turret might actually be used. A lot of times players are just completely ignoring that gun turret, especially in Halo 2, back whenever Waterworks was in that one. People just don't even touch the, you know, the gun turret. But up here, because I'm in play mode now, I can get into the gun turret. Now you can kind of give yourself, your team cover over there, because the angle's a little bit different, you know? And so you can actually get over there. You can turn all the way to there, and sort of, you can't quite cover your own flank, which means you're still going to have to rely on your allies to give you some cover. You can't even shoot at that doorway over there, but you can shoot into that room, which means if they try to snipe at you, you can get back at them. And you can get that entire walkway over there, and across to the bridge like normal, and of course in there you can even shoot across to the enemy's bridge a little bit, which is pretty interesting. You can also get up there as well, and you know, like you could with the old method, old location. Now, aside from that, the obvious thing that's changed is this used to be a hangar bay, and that's where the Banshee would spawn, or the Wasp in Halo Infinite. It can be either. I moved that directly. I cut it, cleanly moved it right over here, exactly the same room in every way from my own, you know, build. I did find a way to do this a little more efficiently, so that got me some, you know, resources back. This looks a little cooler than the old way that I was doing it. There's going to be, you know, that's one of the launchers, so that can be a good Hydra, so you can take out enemy flying vehicles as well. But what it does that's in the original Waterworks, it is. I might move that though, and that's something to keep in mind. But basically, this area is like a little doorway that kind of leads around a corner into this hangar bay, and that connects over to the main, you know, building. So you can actually explore, you know, with some good cover and spread out. And as you spread out, it means that there's less campers. You know, there's less camping. There's fewer campers, and all that kind of thing. There's also this little back door, instead of it going down the back ramp around the back of the base. It now comes out here, and I haven't fully placed everything, so there's some floating items here. That kind of links over back toward this side bridge, and it links back toward that little tunnel that used to be in the map. Now, I've been talking about all this new stuff. Let me go show you some of this in the old side really quick, and then we'll come back and we'll continue talking about it. Basically, I've got over here, this is the main base, and the ramp would come up to the hangar bay. The hangar bay had a flying vehicle in it. It then had a teleporter right here that would teleport you over to there. And then back behind this building, there was a ramp down the back that leads back to the door. I had added this little cave here before into Waterworks. That was a small addition. That wasn't like a major change, but it allowed more than one way into the base. Whenever you shoot down that stalagmite right there, it would fall, or stalactite, I mean, it would fall down here. You'd climb up its sort of like destroyed shape, and you could get up onto this, climb the back of the base, and enter that way. All of that is unique to my version of Waterworks. It wasn't in the Halo 2's version, but they were small additions that were just made Waterworks itself play differently without major renovation, you know what I mean, without major overhaul of the structure. So now we've got this whole setup going on here with a much different, you know, upgrade and style. And what it does is, I basically took that bridge and copied it over here and then made some alterations. I'm probably going to do things like take out that light, because that light right there is more than bright enough to do what this one does. And then that light is going to light up that area. There's a lot of things I can get budget back on like that that are really going to help the rest of the build. I think I also have a light on the front that's like inside of this. Anyway, the point is that this whole build is I think it's gonna completely overhaul it, and the whole purpose of all of these changes is to create more forward momentum and to provide more detail on the map, like more areas to fight for big team battle, which has 24 players in it, 12v12. Because I was really envisioning Hydrostatic, this what this one's going to be called, as a big team battle variant of of Waterworks, which was already so big. It was a it was a big team battle version on its own. I've also redesigned the interior here. I've gotten a lot of complaints. A lot of people have complained for a long time that the interior here is very confusing. Bots, I got them to work perfectly in it, but they were still moving like they were confused even. And players are also very confused whenever they come into this area. So what I've done, I don't know why the weapon isn't spawning, but yeah, anyway, what I've done is I've done some graphical upgrades that have also resulted in me getting budget back, because the way I'd done lights before was 1-to-1 to the original Waterworks, but that required me to build them out with like this sort of like alcove into the structure, and like basically there were no light objects that really fully matched what Halo 2 had designed. So I basically had to redesign them, or like build them out myself with little building blocks. And it's not like there are some more expensive objects and some cheaper objects in Forge, but it's really about the number of objects that the renderer has to call to render. Whenever you have a bunch of objects that then the renderer has to call like 6 different objects to build out a single shape, even though I replaced it with a much higher polygon object here, you can kind of see that right there has like, ooh, trying to go to mouse so I can sort of move my mouse around on the screen. Oof. Here we go. Nope, usually that works the second time. No, it's still not working. That's really annoying. Okay, well, whatever. I think it's probably because the weapon is gone and everything like that. Probably that little bug is causing that to not be able to switch to mouse and keyboard. Anyway, the point is that this object right here that you're looking at is way higher polygon than the blocks that I had built the old lighting out of. But even though this one object has more polygons, doesn't mean that the graphics engine needs to work harder on it. It actually needs to work harder per call because of how efficient computer systems have gotten so far. Anyway, the point is that I had to upgrade all of this. I made these grav lifts instead of the staircase. There is still a ramp in the middle, and it's still like the 2 ramps on the side, 1 ramp in the middle sort of style, but because there's 2 grav lifts on the side and 1 ramp in the middle, it sort of feels a little more unique. And it feels like you'll be able to identify and like track where you are in the building a lot easier. You'll come in this side and you'll see this room exactly as it is. And that middle ramp isn't like it's supposed to be an access ramp. It seems like it's sort of the structure, you're not necessarily supposed to be running up here, but Spartans go where they please, So basically you do. I moved the sword/hammer right here for now, and we're gonna see if that actually works out whenever I get to playtesting. But yeah, we're getting to basically this like fully redesigned area. The downstairs, the smallest part, is still exactly the same as it's supposed to be, with the gravlets that I added to the original Waterworks instead of the ladders. Now I do still have Waterworks, by the way, Classic. It's called Waterworks Classic. If you want to look for Waterworks Classic and find my old build, it's exactly like Halo 2. It even has working ladders. So they're scripted. They put a lot of work into them to get them to work. And on the new netcode model, that's going to work a lot better than the old one. But yeah, a lot of this is the same, and then you come in here though, and it's going to be a little bit different. If you ride up this grav lift, I don't have it in play mode, so I'll have to go into... Oh, well, that was interesting. It popped me somewhere else. If you go up this grav lift, you will come up out here, and then you'll have a little place to fight right here in the top floor. And I've balanced, by the way, the 2 doors over here to 1 door over there, I have balanced by making it to where the grav lifts are closer to here, so enemies can pop out on... Like, this team has 2 ways of flanking someone who's across the way, but if someone's coming up from below with the grav lifts, they can actually flank this area much easier because they'll just be like right in the middle of it. They'll pop out and surprise the people over here by the door. So in a way, it's very well balanced there. We also have this ramp will come up and they can peek those people very easily. So in sort of there's a way where it's like 2 doors against 2 doors. And then this side also has this middle column, and that they can block off a door and only duel with that person, for example. So I kind of balanced all these different directions. But then, as you notice, blocking off that door kind of makes it to where you're still exposed to both grav lifts. So you actually give one of these people in the grav lift a cover. As they come up, they'll have cover there, and then that grav lift will be out in the open. So they have more strategic thinking as well. So all of this is like balanced, even though it's asymmetrical. I'm doing asymmetrical balancing with this style. Over here, this side has 2 doors, and they actually have this passageway. So the upstairs it's 1 door, and then downstairs 2 doors. That was already like that in Waterworks originally. But the way I balanced this one is I gave this side the high ground, and when they come in, they get the high ground and the melee weapon, and they're coming down after you, right? But then the thing about that is that over here, you can back up and use that ramp to place your grenades. If you chuck a grenade right at this ramp, it'll bounce up and explode right around here. So if you see someone getting that, like, coming at you and you have to back up, and they grab that melee weapon or something to that effect, you can chuck a grenade and time it just right to kill them. So that's a good way of doing it, but then at the same time, this side has speed. They can grab that melee weapon, hop in a grav lift and go, or they can grab it and hop over and land on you. If they've got thruster or grapple, they can close the gap even faster. So all of this is very well balanced. I think there's going to be some really interesting battles that take place in that central structure now that's been rebuilt. I redid the art on here, but I'm not too pleased with this because it does this weird graphical bug, and there's no way to get rid of it. It's not a reflection volume thing or lighting thing. It seems to be something that's bugged with the object itself, so I might be turning this back to being not this new fancy, Forerunner light bridge ramp with the design in it and everything like that. I think I'm going to have to go back to a hologram panel and do a solid floor. Anyway, over here, I haven't even upgraded the seed system. It still has 5 seeds. The reason is because I couldn't just go straight from regular Waterworks. I had to redo a bunch of stuff because I had to go back 450 different versions in the version history of this map, which lost hours and hours, like days worth of work on Waterworks. Back to this version, which didn't even have the new version of the seeds. After I think season 4 came out, they released those. They introduced those, and so it's this whole map version is. I had to go back and then redo a bunch of work because current Waterworks, all the way back to that old of a version, won't open. I can't open it at all, and I don't know why. It's just some weird bug that hit, and no one can help me solve it. Like, they've tried, and no one can really figure out what it is. We just figured out which version still works, and that's it. So anyway, the point is that, so one other addition that I had, and that is, you've got, let me come at this from this direction so you can kind of see it coming from this approach. I'll come all the way back here. I don't think you've seen this bridge from this side. Basically, there's the teleporter over there. You'll have to worry about people coming in there while you're going across this bridge, which means you have to worry about your flank there in the short term. You also potentially have to worry about snipers. Snipers will be, that'll be the job of your allies that are out in that structure. So ideally here, you shouldn't have to think too much about the snipers, but they will get you sometimes whenever your teammates are not doing their job. So there's going to be some really good, you're going to require some teamwork on this map whenever you've got 12 players to a team. But anyway, the point is, you're going across this map, you can take the choice of grav lifting through the middle. You can actually thruster or grapple shot, along the way. That's another point about this that I'm going to show in a minute. You come around here, you can grab this fusion coil. I started replacing some of the old-fashioned, in Halo 2, they only had the regular fusion coils. So in Waterworks, I only had the regular fusion coils. I should have replaced some of them with these shock ones, because that would allow you to EMP tanks and flying vehicles a lot easier, especially tanks. Flying vehicles are a little tougher, unless it's a Banshee that's trying to ram you. Right as they hit the ground, you can EMP them pretty well. But anyway, the point is, I'm starting to put some of those in here too. I'm going to have both kinds. I might even have the Forerunner ones that's sort of the seeking round. But anyway, the point is, you can now approach this from above, and as you get closer, you come around here, and there's 2 routes. You can come around this way, which is going to allow you to flank people through that, instead of coming straight through. They can also flank you by going out that, though, so you got to keep that in mind. But the other thing is, you have to worry about this ramp right here, which is going down the back of the base, just like before. I've done some other graphical upgrades around here, by the way. Like, that rubble pile looked pretty basic before. It looks a little better now. But I've got this room right here now. This is where you've got the gun turrets. This is where the Spartans set up the gun turret. This little balcony wasn't necessarily built for this gun turret. I don't know what the Forerunners had in mind here, but I'm thinking it's an overlook, like an observation deck sort of thing, to make sure this giant waterworks system is functioning properly. You might hear my daughter in the background throughout this video, by the way. But anyway, the point is that you can come down this ramp like normal to the top of the base, right? But I felt like having just the one ramp was a bit of a bottleneck that I didn't like as a mechanic. It would be kind of, you know, impossible to sort of make sure you know you want to definitely go down this ramp every time, you know what I mean? So then they used to have a hop across over here. Whoop, I can go back up there. They used to have a hop across where you could hop onto this, which was actually a little further out, and then you could hop across onto the roof of this thing. And that allowed you to flank people who are down at the bottom of that ramp. You could also climb up on top of this roof and hop across over there, which you can still do both of those things in my Waterworks version, because obviously that's not changed. But, oh, that's ugly. Need to fix that. So basically, because I moved the gun turret, I lost that ability to flank from this direction. I mean, you kind of still can. You might be able to make the gap. Yeah, you could probably do that if you do it better than I just did it. Maybe on that. It would be a lot tougher, though. It's nowhere near as, like... Yeah, there you go. If you can do it a little bit, but it's only one way. There's no ramp to get back up. So, the important thing here is, you have the upper hand whenever you're at the bottom of a ramp with grenades. If you chuck them at the ramp, it'll bounce up and explode right in their face. So you can give yourself the advantage even on the low ground here. However, the upper ground has the ability to flank there, and both players can come this direction. This is a cave that I actually built this, whenever I built this little cave down here I was talking about earlier in the video, I actually had a rock here that I placed there specifically so that it would be easy to delete it and put this ramp in later whenever I get to Hydrostatic. I've had this in mind since then. I even talked about it on stream whenever I was there, whenever I was working on this. I need to move this. I'm going to move it up into that little corner, like back into that corner, and rotate it to be pointing out a little more, not necessarily completely straight out that hole, but a little closer angled toward that hole. But anyway, the point is, whoop, fell. Okay, I'll come back up. It looks like I accidentally stuck a rock through here. I'm gonna have to fix that. But anyway, the point is, now you've got, not only do you have this added cave here to go out the back, but you also have this added cave to go up the ramp. So you can actually, whenever you come in through the back, that also means that enemy teams could come around here with a warthog, park it right here, hop on top of it and get up there, or shoot down the stalactite. Here, I'll go ahead and do that real quick just to show you. This is something that's been in Waterworks for, you know, the whole time it's been in matchmaking, but not everybody knows about all these things, and so, you know, talking about it in one of these videos can kind of reveal some stuff to people who are interested. If you shoot that stalactite, it's scripted to always drop these exactly in this position. I used to use them physics-based, but that caused desync with vehicles especially, or if you rammed into them with vehicles, it was a problem. With this, you can hop up here. This is what I was talking about earlier whenever I was showing the other side of the map, and you can climb all the way up and hop over and flank your opponent's team right there. So if you come in here with a vehicle like a mongoose or a warthog or like a, you know, maybe the ghost or the razorback, which I've added to the map, you can shoot that down. You get that there, which, by the way, it blocks. I know. It blocks vehicles this direction. It's actually something that's semi-defensive because it means that when your opponent is attacking the base, they can't use the back of the base as a path. You can use this defensively to, if the enemy is like camping around their own base with a vehicle and you're trying to attack the base, or if your enemy is attacking your base and they're using vehicle, if you drop this down, then what it does is it blocks vehicles coming this direction and it turns into a ramp going this direction, which is so steep, it's kind of hard to go up it, even with a vehicle, you know what I mean? It even has like a bit of a bump for a player. But the purpose of this is mainly to be able to get up to this height, but you also have the ability to turn this into a ramp where a vehicle can jump over. And so, yeah, you can kind of utilize this to sort of reduce enemy vehicles like maneuverability, and of course the extension of this one over there also adds another ramp over there that creates more cover for you. That's important for approaching from that doorway. You can go use that cover to get closer to the base and then attack the base. Anyway, I was going to talk about this cave hole though. The point of this is this rock falls here, and you can now clamber up. You don't need any kind of equipment. You don't need thruster to throw yourself in the air. You don't need grapple to, repulsor to throw yourself up in the air. You don't need grapple to sort of like pull yourself up here, and you don't need any kind of thruster to, like, you know, I don't know, jump out of a vehicle and thruster into it. I don't know. The point is that you now have the ability to, once you get in here, you have an intersection, a T-section, left or right. You can go higher and take the high ground, or you can go lower and take the base. Now, the important thing here as well is I am going to spawn, because big team battle, this is intended for big team battle use, I am planning on spawning a flag here, like the classic Halo 2 version. And by the way, Waterworks is set up this way too. If you spawn in Waterworks on big team battle game mode instead of squad battle, then squad battle only uses one flagpole. It only uses the first flagpole. In big team battle, it uses 3. It'll progress through 3. Well, what I'm doing here is this flag over here. This flag is your main flag. This is the first one it spawns on. After that one's done, it does, I believe, this one. And then in Waterworks, it goes up to here. So you actually have to take the central tower. The idea was everything moves into the middle tower as the final wave of the map. I think it was the third one, unless the third one was on the base. Let me see. There was a wave. Basically, the intention here is for it to be, oh, flag index 2. Is it 0, 1, 2? Or is it 1, 2, 3? Let me see. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, yeah, the base is the last one. That's the final flag. Okay, so it goes 1 over there, then 2 over here. So that ends up moving the flag from there to here, which ends up, if one team does that and the other team hasn't captured the enemy flag yet, then that one and this one are in this same row, and it becomes this, like, this corridor becomes a massive battle zone, you know, like huge battlefield, and people are fighting for this high ground to defend their flag or capture the enemy flag. It becomes really intense in this alleyway, in this narrows here, which is really cool. That I mean, I built that into Waterworks. I mean, yeah, into Waterworks. So the original Waterworks already has that in it. You can do that in Big Team Battle right now. But I'm definitely gonna do this in this new version of called Hydrostatic as well. The problem is that I might want to move stuff. Like, this is where it spawns here, sure, but should I move it up here? You know what I mean? Right in front of the grav lift. I was thinking that anyway, because if you grabbed a flag here and then you hit that grav lift, you'd immediately close the gap to the middle. Nah, then someone would pick you up. You'd be capturing that flag in like 2 seconds. Handing them a grav lift right after the flag grab is probably a bad idea. So I'm probably not going to do that. There's also the option of the teleport, which would allow you to teleport all the way over here. I don't think that's the best option. I think what's best option is grab the flag. I have no cover. Go hide. There's no vehicles to help me. In classic Waterworks, that's it. There's no vehicles to help you. You're screwed. There's a teleporter up here. You might be able to get into the teleporter. You'll go over there, but you know the enemy always knows where you are. If they don't run into you already along the way, then they're gonna find you over there, or they're gonna find you as you run off into the middle of the field and get yourself killed. You know what I mean? A lot of people I've seen do that. I don't know why they don't use their cover a little better. But typically, once you get this flag, you can then fall back into this building, come up here. In this case, you're going to be able to come up here and actually move across this roof, which is going to be tough because there's going to be a lot of enemies. And if you can make it to here, you can get halfway across the map with the grav lift. With the grav lift. Or if the enemy has all the vehicles, like let's say the enemy has a wraith, all of these structures here are going to protect you from the wraith pretty well. They're going to be able to fire through these holes, but they're going to have to use precision skill. That's one of the things I built about that hole. I had the expectation that a Wraith player who's good at it can maybe get through these holes. If they're really great at it, they're always going to make it through the holes. But they can get into these holes, but then the back wall is blown out. You know, it's farther away. And so in the classic, this would be a hangar bay. The wall would actually be like right in line here. And if a Wraith hits that, you're dead in here almost no matter where you are. There's like no hope. Like the wall is here in normal, and then like here. So like I was like, okay, I've got to figure out a way to make this a little bit better for people who are trying to get past the Wraith. So I that's why I opened up the back wall. Now the Wraith blasts, if they don't hit the ground, they'll hit the back wall, and that's, if I'm standing here, that won't even hurt me. So like I could just like, I could hide here. I mean, closer to the danger, I'd be farther from harm, like, you know, the hobbits. So basically, if you didn't take your flag, this is a little bit of a scary spot. Then you get over here and you have this column to protect you. Then you've got this wall to protect you. Then you've got these to interrupt the enemy fire angles. And you can now pick the grav lift or the teleporter. So if the enemy has a flying vehicle, I would not pick the grav lift. That would throw you over there, and then they would immediately be able to chase you through the air, probably kill you while you're flying through the air. But if you go this route before they see you, then you can hit that teleporter. And by the way, the length of this bridge is not final. I haven't even like put a floor fully back here. This was one of the last things I did most recently before I, started filming this, and well, it was actually yesterday. This is like the last thing I did yesterday. Anyway, you can hop through that teleporter and come out over here, and again, yeah, flying vehicle, if they see you go through the teleporter, they're gonna turn around and come after you. But you have time to get over here, maybe drop the flag here, grab the overshield, grab the flag again, activate it, maybe survive with that, or if it's camo, turn invisible, or you could come over here and grab the rocket launcher, like drop the flag in there so your allies can come back over here and grab it easier, then come over here and grab the rocket launcher and take out the flying vehicle that way. That'd be pretty intense, and you'd be able to do just one-man army, make your way back. Once you get in here, because Waterworks has always had this T-junction, you always have this choice. You can go that way or this way and make your way back across. By the way, this has always been the what do you call it? The equipment dispenser for, I think, what do you call it? The thruster, I think it is. Logic spawn, dynamic. What was it? No, it's on stack select. Threat sensor. That's right. That's the threat sensor. My bad. Okay, over here you've got the grapple shot. Now, I used to have this grapple shot here because I really like the idea of you going out and grabbing this and having the option of cliff, balcony, pulling yourself into there really fast to get away from enemy vehicles, boarding enemy vehicles that might be coming through this lane, immediately running back here, and then maybe using this to sort of get the jump on vehicles that drive by, or getting a better angle on the grapple shot up there. I also loved the use, personally, I do this all the time. I must have clipped something through here. I don't know what I did that. What I clipped in there. Oh, it's this. I made this taller and start clipping through. Okay, I'll just have to adjust those pieces. Anyway, once you get inside here, grapple shots, like I said earlier with the new design, grapple shots will be extremely useful, especially if you have the melee weapon. But basically, yeah, that was that sort of perfect sort of spot for the grapple shot to me, because it's also dangerous. You got to come out here and get it to earn it. You know what I mean? But anyway, the point is that now that it's all rebuilt, though, I might want to make another grapple shot, or maybe make it to where there's like, some kind of symmetry to where a different number is potentially randomly going to get it. I didn't even mention this. This is like a small idea I had on the side. I don't even know if this is necessarily the best idea or not, but I made this little cave where you can just sort of, you can kind of hide in here if you're getting attacked by flying vehicles and you need an out to recharge your shields. But you can also come back in, and you're inside this cave area. You're able to come around here, go up this ramp, and then compete with the flying vehicles. So if you have the rocket launcher from over on the bridge and you come this way, you could like get the rockets through here, or even snipe. You can sort of, this is so high, it's on like the roof of the base, that normally, in Waterworks you can't normally get that high. Like, this is usually about how high you get on the Waterworks. In my Waterworks I added that area, like I showed you twice already, but this area is much easier to like get up to and then use as like a counter snipe for that middle area where you're basically on the same level, and you have this sort of like, stalactite sort of cones. I just realized I've been talking and I don't even have the audio in the game on, and there's a reason for that. That explosion is the sound that I use for that middle pump, and it's non-stop until the script takes over to delete the item and then respawn it when I want it to make the boom, and then I delete it again. And so I use it as like an audio, even though it's actually an explosion object. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, the point is that if anybody who's wondering, that's why I have no audio on for the guns and like jumping and vehicles and stuff like that. That's just a little thing I was using to copy over an object to make sure I was moving all of the objects at the same distance. Anyway, so now that you can actually. It actually utilizes the roof of this, which is something else that original Waterworks used to always have this thing where you could, even back in Halo 2, you could hop up here, you couldn't clamber, but you could crouch jump it in Halo 2. And there wasn't really anything to do back here once you got up here. It kind of could get you, if you were down here having a firefight with someone, you could use this to sort of get the jump on them if they were like on the other side of the wall. But like what I would often do back in Halo 2 at least, and then I started doing a little differently in Halo Infinite, is jumping up here, and then they see you on the motion tracker moving around. So what they do is they're behind here because their shields are down or whatever, and they can't see you, and they're waiting for you to come around. Then they see you come that direction, and so they get tight right here, and they try to hide from you because they see you on the motion tracker coming around. They see you as you move, You move this way, and they're like, oh, they're going around that direction. Okay, I need to get ready. They see you come up here, and you're still in the motion tracker as coming around this corner, and they're like, oh my gosh. Then you go this way, and they go, oh, did he go into the middle of that, the cover? And then you drop down on top of them and punch them in the face. You know what I mean? So there is some use there, but it's really, really niche. You know what I mean? Like, there's only one real use for it. But over here, you can go like this, and now you can even jump up here and continue down through this cave, and this is one of the reasons I built all this, but it's also still like, I don't know if I really want to. And you could flank people if you're over here and you're fighting people that are in that room. Like, you're having a firefight with enemies that are over there, and you chuck a grenade and they kind of hide, then you can take that moment to get up here, and they're like, whoa, where'd he go? Then they see you on the motion tracker sprinting over the top, and they're freaking out. They're like, is he in the room with me? They get confused, and then you get the jump on them. Or there are other options as well. Like, you can take that route. You can come over here. You can get down here and then hop into the middle of the room and take them out that and try and, you know, attack them that direction. Or if you really need ammunition, there's no ammo up here, but you can take this route, and these spawners are going to be somewhere around here. I might move them around a little bit, but that's what they are in Waterworks. And there's another way up there, is you can really just clamber right on up this little cliff here and right on up in there. So there's like 3 different ways up here that all result in pretty good cover. So I've got all these different ideas that I've kind of been implementing and have planned. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this little area down here. I obviously just copied this over there. I got to delete the other side because it was colliding with that, which means that this is more unique again, that there's 2 of them over here. So it still feels pretty good that they're, even though I just copied and pasted it practically and just mirrored it, just flipped it around. But let me get into the actual game real quick. Let's see if it'll, in play mode. Okay, the vehicle should spawn any minute. There's the Warthog. In the actual game, that spawns in a lot smoother because there's the countdown before the match actually starts. But anyway, this is where the Ghost and now the Razorback. So over there you get the Warthog. Over here you get the Ghost because, you know, I feel like most of the time over here, people are going to end up being alone without anyone to jump in their in the back of their Warthog, and the reason is because there's a flying vehicle up there. Most of the players who spawn in up there are just going to hop in the flying vehicle, and if they don't, then they're going to probably just move on and go somewhere else. But that means that there's one more vehicle down here, and that's another 1-seater. You know what I mean? So you hop down here and you get in the Ghost, and now you can go off and fight. So that gives you a lot of you know, like options. Whereas before it was above the Ghost and the Warthog as well, but somehow about the way that the hangar bay was set up before, you had to come out and look straight down at the Ghost. I never saw a whole lot of players utilize the fact that, oh, there's no flying vehicle, hop down, get the lower vehicles of the Warthog or the Ghost. They'd all go, oh, it's no flying vehicle? Okay, I'm going to teleport and then go get the rocket launcher. And because the teleporter was so easy to get into there, instead of the teleporter being, like I have done, moved it back there, that was just the obvious option. It was by having too many really good options next to each other, flying vehicle or teleporter to the rocket launcher, it made it to where the less than optimized options like jump down and get the Ghost were never utilized. But the Ghost is really powerful. You get that Ghost somewhere out there and you can run over like 3 enemy players and like shoot down 2 more and before you even get killed. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of options for the Ghost, and especially, I mean, there's a lot of vehicle options in this map just in general. But anyway, the point is, now that this has been redesigned, you're going to go over here, you're going to say there's no flying vehicle, and some players who already know the map will know the Ghost is right there. But more importantly than that, if they come out here, their hand is kind of covering it right now in the view angle. I'm just saying that if you come out here and you're fighting someone over there or seeing another enemy vehicles moving around, then you'll notice the Ghost a lot easier because farther away from the actual balcony. You know, it's a little bit better view angle. I also raised it, I think a little bit off the ground. No, it's about the same. I think it's the exact same height as it was before. That's right, I just moved it over. I specifically didn't adjust the height. But more importantly, this window right here, it also, it's just viewing that, it's viewing the teleporter and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have the teleporter. And then you can just hop through the window and you'll land right at the Ghost. Did you see how my head bounced off the top of that window? If you just come over to this window and jump out, you'll always land right next to the Ghost. It's like the window is designed to bounce you off and land you right next to the Ghost, hop into it and go. You know what I mean? Now, I will point out also, there is some cliff that you can hide on right here. That'll hide you from things like enemy ghosts who are trying to run you over. So if two people are competing for vehicles here and the enemy gets a ghost and they turn around, they're coming after you, you can hop up here and get a little bit too high for their thruster to be able to run you over. You're still open, you know, you're still like, you know, a duck hunt to take you out if you know, for their plasma. But if they try and ram you, if you get down here and they try to ram you, you can hop up here immediately and they'll ram you, they'll damage their own vehicle, and you can either grapple them, like jump on and try and steal it, or you can try and fight back. That's one option, but that's like a panic option. You know, that's just like a last-ditch effort. Then, as movement is concerned, now there's an area here. Well, I kind of messed it up there, where you can sort of jump and clamber right up here, and you can climb right up the cliff and actually then immediately contend with up here. That's important because a lot of players will like spawn in and they'll drop down and it's like, oh, another player grabbed the vehicle I wanted. I gotta walk all the way over there. Oh man, I don't know if I want to do that. Excuse me. So they'll either come over here for cover, but now they can potentially see this cliff side, clamber up the cliff side, and make their way back up here and reassess their situation, either go back into their own base or use this as an opportunity. Now they're up here, they come up right here, they'll emerge right here, they're practically at the rocket launcher at this point. Let's go down here and let's get to the rocket launcher. They have a lot of areas to go. Now, a few things I wanted to talk about though. This is just an overview of everything that I've been working on. I actually have some questions to talk about too. So I'm going to leave this at the end of this video, but I'm also going to upload another video that's just these questions. So let's pretend like I just went over that entire, like I didn't just go over that entire thing, and I'm just going to reassess real quick as a quick like flyby, and sort of recover it, and then I'm going to ask some questions, and I want you to be able to tell me what you think about how I'm going to redesign this. So basically, the base has been stretched out here with this bridge structure that goes across. I've moved the hangar bay over there, moved the gun turret up here, reused the gun turret spot as a you know, grav lift to there, put in this bridge a grav lift that launches you to there. This has all been redesigned with this cave back here to also have this sort of like route up high and down low. The route up high links around to here and over here. It's all very interesting. One question I have is, I kind of think I want to put a pit over here. I want to delete all this area. This area has always been a dead zone, even back in Halo 2. Very rarely would you be back here, and if you were either just walking to get up onto this bridge and it was boring, or you're getting hit by ghosts and wraiths and all sorts of stuff and snipers and everything. Like you could be back here trying to like BR a sniper that's up there, and then you'd get killed probably. Enemy ghosts would come up here and just run you over and do all sorts of stuff, or warthogs would. And then like wraiths would come over here and they'd even boost back here and sort of run you over and do all sorts of stuff. So I want to delete all this. Just make it a pit, another pit just like the middle. Just over here, basically end it right along as a line right here. I actually drew up some mock-ups real quick that I can sort of show you real quick to tell you what I'm trying to say. Right here, I've got this mock-up. This is in the GIMP, the Graphic Imaging Manipulation program. What it is okay, I've got sort of, this is all of them. This is layers for the two, you know, you've got the grav lift that goes to mid, grav lift that goes over to that hex where the first flag spawns. And that one we can go ahead and turn off. Oh, which one was it? This one. We can turn that one off because we already know. Teleporter now moves. Oh, actually, yeah, no, I forgot. We're resetting to where it's like, I know I just showed this off, but let's show this off one real quick. Teleporter's here now instead of in the window. And the teleporter now leads you to here, and you have to come in through this bridge, but the bridge gives you options. It's a good design. But anyway, the point is, let's go back over to what I've got going on here. So hide the teleporter and the teleporter route, reroute, and the grav lifts because they're going to get in the way, and then we can just see what I'm talking about here. So this is the structural additions. These are the structural changes, are all in red. This is the additional bridge with teleporter. This is my additional structural change I'm proposing. Basically a line right there with a giant death pit there. And here's the reason why. There's this thing in, you know, in Infinite you've got all these equipment. In Halo 2 you didn't have the equipment. And so in Halo 2 it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense necessarily to have a death pit here. It just would have been a way to accidentally jump off and kill yourself. what would be the point of that? That's not interesting. So instead they had spawners back here, and they just made it as one of the sort of far away from the map areas to spawn in. Far away from the map areas are safe, but the annoying thing about far away from the map areas is that now you gotta move in to get to the action. Well, because of this redesign, I've moved the action. The action is going to be over there now, but it's also going to spread out over here, and it's also going to spread out to the bridge a lot easier and differently, and that's going to make it to where the action is a lot more interesting, and the courtyard is still going to be mainly for vehicles, but it is going to sort of all be a little bit more actiony and more spread out, instead of all taking place in the base, in the air for flying vehicles, on the ground for ground vehicles, and in the central structure, with very little, like every now and then there'd be combat over here between like 2 people. It was always like a duel on this bridge, even in my Waterworks in matchmaking. But then if you come over here, there was almost never anybody here. Once in a blue moon, you'd have a duel with somebody over here, but most of the time there was no one. I mean, I'd always come in here and grab this fusion coil and just walk up in Infinite, and then walk up here, and if there was anybody, I'd chuck the fusion coil at them right around this door, because they'd usually be right at this door whenever I get up here, or maybe they'd be coming in the door and I'd chuck it at that wall and kill them as I come around the corner. It was too easy. But now there's so many other options for moving around, for getting to there, to teleport there, for getting across to this bridge. You can actually get to here. There's a reason to go here, and once you are here, in fact, not only is there a reason to go here, this area was a dead zone in normal Waterworks. Now the flying vehicle is over here. You can only get that extremely powerful vehicle by going over here, and you still have to go out to the middle of the courtyard to get your tank. So, you know, it's very dangerous to go after that tank, and you have to move over here, which means the action for the flying vehicle. So that means the action is definitely going to be closer to the bridge and more spread out. That's all really good and really important. What I wanted to ask though is, do you think a pit is a good idea? Should I put the pit there? I was also considering grabbing the bridge and this entire structure, the bridge, the tunnel, the ramp, the rest of the tunnel coming out all the way over here, grabbing that entire structure and moving it this way so that that door is in line with these rocks here. And then make this just a cliff surface. No longer a little tiny courtyard area to hide from vehicles. It is useful for hiding from vehicles. It does have purposes. This area is really important. It's also like the place you are to compete with up there. So like if an enemy is like coming down here, jumping down into that courtyard's opening is how you do that safely without getting run over by someone who just boosts through there really fast, with like a wraith or like a warthog, your own ally running you over. That little leap there is really important in Waterworks. But if I did close that off, what it would do is it would move the bridge closer. It would actually move this bridge. This part would be in line with like there, which would get you that distance. You wouldn't have to walk anymore. I could just connect the bridge, that part of the bridge, to right there, and you wouldn't have to walk that distance anymore. So like this area would be from there to there. The distance is so small. So I am gonna probably make this its own little like second video here. The big long video where I explained everything in the map in more detail will also be up on my channel. So if you want to watch more detail, you can. I would definitely appreciate full feedback, especially from people who are able to go through and watch the whole video. But basically making that gap so much shorter. Well, first off, another thing is the bridge would be above this crossway, which means that bridge might even be able to, you could jump and thruster onto here potentially, or jump and thruster onto there. I already was kind of thinking about putting a rock down here that allows you to jump and clamber up on there, possibly making it an extension of this stalagmite, stalactite, sorry, where like, you know, I've got this, that vehicle's gonna take forever to spawn in. I showed earlier the stalactite in the back of the base, where you can shoot it down and all sorts of stuff like that, which are already in Waterworks, but let's just shoot down some of these stalactites real quick from the front of the base. So this gives you cover over here, which makes it easier to approach the base. This one does the same thing. The idea here was the bridge is very powerful if you're here. It's kind of, you're very exposed. So I was making it to where you could hide here if you shoot that down, and it only takes one shot with a pistol just because of the way scripting works in Halo Infinite. There isn't a thing that properly passes through the damage that the object takes if the object is not already designed to be destructible. It's not designed to receive damage, so it zeroes it out. Anyway, the point is, it adds that rock comes down, breaks, and it becomes a ramp here so you can cross that gap, and it becomes a cover here. What I was thinking about doing was adding a third rock to it that would actually fall over here and sort of like land right here and give you the ability to jump up there. Now, instead of that, what I'm considering is making that a permanent fixture, always there. Because if I make the cliff here, right, and I make it to where the rock is there and you can jump up, then that would allow you to like lay siege to it, but like you can't do it from the back anymore. If I make this a giant pit, then the ramp doesn't go up anymore. You can't attack it from behind anymore. I'm hearing some weird stuff in my audio. I hope this isn't coming through in this recording. I apologize if it is. Like, it's definitely being all choppy and weird. Anyway, the point is that if you come over this ramp and you come over here, I added this. This was actually one of the additions I made to Waterworks that's in matchmaking already. Excuse me, I did not clamor that properly. And this comes and attaches over here. It's just a solid wall in Halo 2. And that also allows you to have a balcony over here to compete with the enemy and like sort of like fight back if there's too many people over there. Anyway, the point is, this area will be a lot more interesting, I think, with a pit, because you could repulsor someone off into that pit and kill them, you know what I mean? And if the pit is there, then that means whenever you come in through the teleporter, you're arriving and you're surrounded by pit, which means a good response to the teleporter, to someone attacking from the teleporter, is to have the repulsor. If I move this overshield or the rocket launcher to a different position, because it does work still in both these positions, I like it, but if I do move it, then I think it might actually, you know, pay off a little bit, because that would make it to where the repulsor would be more powerful on the bridge than the weapons that are already spawning on here, you know, like the rocket launcher, or something to that effect. But the point is that we've got a lot to do here. To like, if you're fighting someone, you could repulsor them at that wall, they'd bounce off of it and potentially fall off of the cliff. These slopes are kind of like a waste right now, and these slopes here, if someone was standing here and they got repulsored by an enemy that was in that direction, or let's say you know, like basically in any of these situations, they'd go up this ramp and the physics of Infinite would launch them into the air just the right height to hit that slope and get thrown, and then they'd hit that and launch up further and they'd fly right over the ledge, but all they do is land out here. I've done it to bots whenever I was playing this map before and like playtesting it, but I've never really done it in a match because I know that they're just gonna land out there and still be alive. I think I did it one time in a match, but anyway, the point is that what this means is I can now put the repulsor, instead of the threat sensor, I'll move the repulsor here. And what that means is you'll be able to grab the repulsor, and then you'll be able to go over here and you'll be able to contend the enemy's rockets with your repulsor, and also send people off the bridge into the pit. So that's my main question is, do you guys think a pit's a good idea here? Or should I, like, if I sold it to you and think that's a great idea, or should I not? I'm hesitant only because it's a massive section of the floor just cut out and dropped to nothing. But I think it does actually work really well. By the way, another question actually, here's another question. In a previous live stream, one of my viewers suggested a hole up here that can overlook the bridge, and it would be really nice as a counter snipe over here. And they were suggesting it as, I was saying I wanted to put a loot cave here. And if I may not be able to do the loot cave because of budget reasons, but I could put a passageway here. I know this design is so pretty, and it was a really cool like sort of discovery that I figured out how to position this door twice, once upside down, and then scale to different heights to fit them perfectly in here. But anyway, want to go through here and then wrap around and come out here, or maybe a little higher, so that they have a view, a vantage point of the entire enemy base from here. They can see the main base, they can see there, they can see there, and it's a sniper point that isn't in the middle of the map, which means the snipers won't always want to be in the middle of the map. In fact, I might be able to move where the snipers are, maybe even down here or something like that, to where you have to move into the base, into the middle of the map, to get the height advantage front with your sniper. That's a really good solid design, because you never want to give them the power weapon in the power weapon spot, because then there's nowhere to go. There's no decision-making process. You're just making the decision for them. You're now a sniper on that hill. Well, in this case, I can break it up. I can make it a choice where you can decide, I'm going to hide in here actually with a sniper, bring it down here, and you can either use it from the bridge, like thusly, and make your way across, or you can make your way around and up there. And if you can go up here and that's a pit, then the only way down is to like jump across and then land on the bridge. It becomes a sort of a dangerous spot. a little bit, you know what I mean? And it can become a spot where I think I would probably make it to where it's a really easy spot to chuck a grenade up there, and it would bounce off the back wall and land like right at your feet and blow you up, because it's such a power move to come up here and the enemy flying vehicle is there, and you get the rocket launcher and come through here and come up here and emerge from this spot and hunt the enemy flying vehicle before they even realize you're all the way in this back corner. You know what I mean? It would be such a powerful like little spot that I don't know if it's a good idea even. You know what I mean? That's why I'm trying to run it by you guys and ask you. Pit, I probably sold you on it. You're probably gonna just say yes. I am so sold on it that I'm like, I don't even know if I should. Like I was like, I should ask. I want to ask. I want to be sure before I do it. But then like Pit plus the sniper point sounds really cool. It also has a vantage point against the teleporter, which is something that like it can't see the other end of the teleporter. I can't even really tell very well if an enemy is going to go toward the teleporter, because if an enemy goes into the gap, right? If an enemy goes into that opening all the way back here, they could be walking that direction down the bridge into that door. You know what I mean? They could just be hiding. They could be hopping off the back. You're not sure they're going to go through the teleporter. So people going toward the teleporter, if you spot them go toward that teleporter, you can't see the other end of the teleporter, so you don't know for sure they're going through, and that'll like distract you, make it to focus on this. And in the meantime, the middle structure, I think maybe actually, you know what? We should, if I do this, I want to move it a little farther so the middle structure snipers can actually contend with you. Right here, they could like right it there, but they don't have a lot of options. I think maybe having the enemy sniper being able to just barely get an angle on you might be better. So yeah, I would say like right there. So maybe not perfectly in the corner, right a little to the side, you know what I mean? But anyway, the point is, giant death pit, probably yes. And I'm just asking you if you think that's a great idea. Here, maybe yes. Maybe also yes. Let me know what you think about that. I know this video has gone on way longer than you might have expected, but there's a lot of questions I have, you know? I also want to brighten this back up again. All of my work in fixing the dark side of the map being so dark, I've already done it like halfway in this version in Hydrostatic, but the old version of the map was like Waterworks. It was so dark, so the most recent update on matchmaking had it fixed, but then I couldn't reopen that version, so I lost all that data. And so yeah, I'm gonna try and fix that up again, make it work again better. But I've adjusted all the lighting a little bit, and I'm just gonna try and get it back to the high quality I had it before. Anyway, I need to fix up some of this area with some more vines. I like the vines. Maybe have some more down here too. Those are really pretty looking. And yeah, that's about it. I'll get some budget back from these, by the way, because they're dynamic objects. So whenever I delete 2 of them, you only need 3 in it now, in that mode now. So I'll get some budget back. These are also dynamic objects. I think I'm going to change this up in here somewhere. I really do like, since they're dynamic, but I'm not in play mode, they're not going to move. I like this. This was from Halo 2. You could grenade hop up here and get the jump on somebody. But I think what I'm going to do instead is, I mean, I could even replace those with a repulsor spawn and give you that, because this is a maneuver that, yeah, I'm handing it straight to them. Like I said, don't do that with the sniper earlier, but that's not really a power move, you know what I mean? It's a maneuver, but it's not like a super powerful attack. I don't know. We'll see where I gotta do that. I do have to fix this. That's obviously a mistake. But yeah, anyway, we've got all this now. It's all really interesting. Huge upgrades. It's going to be way nicer in big team battle this way. It might even be better in squad battle with this one. But yeah, it's all really, yeah, I look forward to having this one out. And hopefully, if I'm lucky, we'll get this one into matchmaking like we did with Waterworks too. That'll be dope. Yeah, anyway, I'll maybe I should widen these. You see how they are, where they're kind of like clipping into that? I didn't really, yeah, I think I need to widen them. I can have them clip into it, but they need to be, they look sloppy how they're clipping into it now. So I just need to grab this wing and sort of bring it out, and that wing and sort of bring it out. Just make it a wider opening than I have over here and over here. Anyway, yeah, okay, that's the question. I know I've kind of meandered and talked about it a little more than I was planning to. I've got a redesign in here too. That's in the longer version of this video. So if you've stuck around for this short version, go to the long version and take a look. And yeah, I'll catch you next time.